Sometimes different zips or different bone structure. Also just try to mix up the proportions. Like when sometimes the eyes are a little bit closer to the top, so there's a little bit less space for brain. So you can think up stupid characters with a little bit less brain. Or something, you know, try to have the character's personality in mind, and then design or find some things that you can, you know, put into this design, so the character will recognize faster, and try to mix it up so not everyone will look the same. This is a little exercise that I did. I tried to, you know, make a turnaround of the head. I'm not sure I animated it. I might have, but it's usually a good, well, exercise to do so if you can. In general, it is also when you design a character, you should try to draw the character from different perspectives, like from the front, from the back, from profile, and well, 2/3 standing position, for example. You don't have to do that much, because I try to do different perspectives too. Well, it's a very good exercise. You can always try that, and when you have done this, I think you are just more comfortable and more confident with your character design, because you can imagine it as a 3D character, 3D figure. So I think that's also very important when you do character design. Alright, this is the main character of my webcomic. It's called Lost Nightmare. Does anyone know it? Does anyone read it? Yay, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people. Thank you for reading it. So this comic is about Little Ink, who is a nightmare. He is supposed to become the next boogeyman, but he's actually a little, you know, scared kid. He doesn't want to become, you know, scary boogeyman. He likes pink bunnies, so he's not really boogeyman material. And he goes, well, the Sandman kind of offers him his help, so Little Ink goes on an adventure and tries to become a dream. But, you know, in my story I tried to mix the roles of good and evil, so I hope that... Well, if you happen to read the story, it's completely online. You can find it by just googling Lost Nightmare, I hope. Just try it and read it. I hope you like it. So, anyway, this is my main character. He's called Ink. And when I designed him, it was a very long process actually. And well, I tried to find shapes that are, well, easy to recognize, that are, well, that aren't that complex, just simple shapes, so it would not confuse the reader, and they could just, you know, just get to know the character by just looking at them, and you don't have to like be distracted by too many details. Sorry. Yeah. I also, with my webcomic, it's in full color, and speech bubbles are all, well, they're all unique. So each character has their own speech bubbles. And the speech bubbles are also indicate, well, the character. They are, for example, for Ink, I use this speech bubble that looks like his hair. Yeah, and his main color is black or violet. So I also try to assign a color to a character, so that when the color reappears, then you might already expect this character to appear, or that this environment might have something to do with the character. I think it's also important to design the environment along with the character. so that readers are more attached to it. You know. Next one. This is another character from the same webcomic. He's Jasper, and I think now in chapter 3 we'll get to know him a little bit better. He's actually the second main character, and I think not very many people like him so far, because he's kind of the bad guy at first, but he has his reasons. And he obviously has a different color scheme than Eve. His main colors are well, yellow and orange. So bright colors, and why that is, you'll learn in the story. Everything is on purpose, so nothing is done by chance. Yes. This is Miss Doll. She's metallic kind of doll character, and well, she has the color gray because she's supposed to be out of metal, and whoever is around her, who also has the main color, she will kind of inflect that color. So when ink is around her, then she's more purplish, and when the boogeyman is around her, she's bluish, and her speech bubble is doing the same practically. Okay, next. This is my boogeyman. Well, with my first designs, I actually did not really design his body. It was just, you know, I liked this shape and I just imagined a coat. But later on, when she placed a little bit of a bigger role, I realized that it was a mistake to not think about his arms because he kind of needed. Yeah, but I think in general he has to have some similarities to his son, which was Jasper. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, and he has the color black and blue mainly, and he also has these you know, these spiky shapes. So whenever he's around, or in his castle, there's also a lot of these shapes. These are twins. They are fox nightmares. They actually have a story, but I'm not sure I will have time to explain it in the main storyline. But those, well, obviously they have the color red, and they are supposed to be, you know, like cheeky foxes. So they are also have very sharp shapes, and I also try to keep them very visible. Next one. This is a non-human character. It's the first design of the beast. Also appears in my comic. It's a very huge animal kind of thing. Some people said it looks like a kangaroo, but it's actually supposed to be kind of like a forest creature, maybe a mix of a fox and wolf. So since it's living in the forest, it's kind of greenish. It's also very dark because it's a nightmare, and we might get to know him a bit better later on in the story. This is the counterpart of the beast. It's the hunter, and I also always, when I design characters, I try to also design some counterparts for the characters, because that's what makes them interesting. Well, you can emphasize some character traits by putting them in contrast, and well, that's what I try to do here. These are first designs of my characters for my current, my newest comic, Hearts for Sale. It's this one. You can buy it, if you like, for 300 crowns. Yeah. And these are the first characters. I changed a little bit. For example, the girl, she became more red. Her dress is now more red. Yeah, it's completely red, almost. And with these characters, I also tried to find shapes that defines them. For example, the girl was supposed to have hearts in her design. Like if you combine her hair with her apron, it's supposed to be a big heart, but I don't think anybody has ever noticed it. But this was my idea. And she also has many, she has tiny hearts in her, at the end of her thank you. And then I have the gentleman and the herdsman. They don't really have any other names, they just have these roles because it's a short story and I wanted to keep it simple and make it like fairy tale, so they just have those, title kind of names. And the gentleman was supposed to be gentle, and that's why I drew him a little bit softer jawline, and he has friendly light colors. And the herdsman is a bit darker. Because Smith has kind of to do the dirty work, sort of. So he has darker clothes and has a little bit sharper jawline. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do with these characters. And how this actually turned out, you can see in the end result. So again, buy it, give me money. Okay, next. This is for a bachelor film of a friend. He is actually a cinematographer. Well, he's studying in the same film school that I study, and he needed characters for, it's actually a live action film. And these were some, it's a Western kind of film, and these were some not very serious cowboy kind of characters. And I think it was a gang, and the boss of this gang was this girl in the middle. And as a contrast, I also did some other designs. These are, they have completely other color schemes and have other shapes, look a little bit meaner. They are supposed to be the real bad guys. I'm not sure how far my friend is with his movie, but maybe when it comes out, you'll get to see it. Name of the movie? Oh, I'm not really sure. I think it's Bandidos or something, but it's still in the making. No, I think it's actually, my friend is, he worked for Wes Anderson, and I think they both came up with this idea, and so maybe this film will actually have something in this direction. This is just random character design. I called her Nico, like Nicole, and sometimes I just like to, practice character designs just by doing some random ones, and you can find, I think, most of the pictures on my blog on Tumblr. I forgot to bring my business cards, but if you go to the artist alley, you can find me there. Yeah. Here are some action poses of the character design, which is, I think, also important to do. I tried a different style here, more like a cuter style than I often do. Yeah. And these are actually some Pokemon Ginjikas. You might, these are the starters from Pokemon X and Y, in like some human characters, humanized. And I just wanted to mention that it's also a good exercise to take some existing things, and for example, you can humanize Pokemon, or you can humanize food, or anything like that, or you can just switch the gender. like I also did with some Disney princesses. I guess maybe some of you have seen them. Yeah, I kind of like to do that a lot, and it's also very good practice just to you know, try to think in a different way. Yeah, and I think that's actually it for my pictures. Do you have any questions, or do you want me to elaborate on something? Maybe.
How long time usually you spend for one painting or one character?
Well, there's of course the idea finding stage and the actual execution stage. So I think the idea finding stage can take a while. Sometimes when you just don't have ideas, you have to sleep on it, or you have to go outside and find your ideas. So that's usually never a very fast process. But when you do have an idea of what you're going to do, then well, you have to decide on the style. Like here, I just used cell shading and a cute animation kind of style. And I think this was pretty fast. I did it in like maybe 3 or 4 hours, I think. Yeah. I'm not spending that much time on simple character designs. I'm trying, you know, to save my energy for bigger paintings. So, and I also spend most of my energy during the ideas finding stage. So this is more like, you know, finalizing your thoughts that you found. I hope it helped. Thank you. Any more questions or anything you want to talk more about? There in the back.
Have you ever tried to draft blood or gore?
I did not really hear you. Do you have a microphone?
Have you ever tried to draft? Have you ever tried to draft blood or gore? Já neumím anglicky vůbec mluvit.
Okay, well, I'm actually open to any genre, and I would like to try out anything. I usually do more of, you know, fairy tale-ish or children-friendly kind of things. But I am interested in more, you know, horror-ish themes. So maybe I will try to go in that direction someday. If I get some interesting ideas, if you want me to, maybe.
No, I was just curious.
Well, I have a lot of other ideas, you know. I have a lot of more fairy tales, children-friendly types of stories to get out first, and then when that's out of my system, I can try to concentrate on, like, you know, other things. Generally, I would try.
Okay.
I would try to.
I was just curious.
It's okay. It's okay. I like to hear what people want to see from me. So, you know, maybe my next project will be totally gory and grayish. Any more wishes, requests? Which program do you use for your paintings? Well, I'm actually like using many programs. It depends. For this one, for example, I use Paint Tool Side. It's very convenient. It's a small program, so it doesn't, you know, my laptop does not overheat when I work on Paint Tool Side. I also use a lot of, when I do more paintery kind of illustrations, I use Photoshop a lot because there are a lot of brush settings and, you know, a lot of options that can help you. I recently started to do more traditional art with watercolor, and like for my comic here, I drew it with pencil on paper, and then I scanned it and colored it with Photoshop. And I recently bought Manga Studio 5, and maybe my next project I would like to experiment with this program a little bit more. How hard it is to make the animation? Well, I'm still my first year, and well, we're learning the techniques. So mainly you need a lot of patience because animation takes a lot of time. Sometimes you just draw the same drawing over and over again. Sometimes, well, I like the storyboarding phase when you can, have an animatic and then see the progress. And there are a lot of stages, and I think there are also many ways to go about it. Like we are learning, well, a lot of 3D, but I would like to go into more 2D, maybe even, make my own anime someday. Yeah, well, it takes a lot of patience, and I would say it's hard, but it's worth it. Thanks. Well, someday there will at least be one short film from me. It's going to be my bachelor film, because I have to do it. But already on my blog, for example, there are some really tiny experiments or tiny animations. Yeah, so maybe I will do more in the future. I think I will do more in the future. So maybe next time I'll be the animation guest thing. Yeah, okay. Any more?
What are your favorite manga?
I honestly have a lot. Well, I can just go, from recent ones to the bag. Like, okay, the very first one that inspired me was Sailor Moon. It was, yeah, I'm actually rewatching it. I'm still in season 1, but it's fun. I'm watching it in Japanese this time. In German it was cut a little bit. So, and recently I started to read also some classics. I think I got into the seinen genre, so more for young men. So I'm reading, at the moment I'm reading Pluto by Urasawa Naoki. And before that, well, I'm actually also reading a lot of boys now. Sorry. So, what else do I have? There's so much on my shelf, but I can't really picture it. And, well, anime, I like, of course, like the Ghibli films, especially from Miyazaki. And also some Hosoda films, like The Girl Who Left Through Time, or what's the newer one? Summer Wars, like that one. I really love the big movies because they also put more time into them. Like a lot of anime series have to be produced very fast, so there's more effort in movies, I think. What else? I also, well, I really like cute animation. So I'm totally into this cutesy stuff. So I like K-On! I also like Free, so Free anime. And yeah, sports anime actually also inspire me because they have action and friendship, like totally hetero friendship. Yeah.
The most important thing that artists to do most interesting great or I don't know what artists
Do you mean like comic artists, illustrators, animators? Okay. Okay, comic artists. What do they have to have? Well, I I can just say what I like, and I think what most of the people like to see is, well, variety and well, interesting designs and an interesting story, an interesting idea. I think the idea is the first step when you do comics, and then characters, and it has to be appealing, and people have to, you know, the characters have to be credible, and well, good art is also important, but it's not everything. So it's a lot of design, and you know, everything is kind of important. So, you're welcome. Any more questions? Hey. Well, for example, we have to do live drawing. That's pretty realistic. I think every Monday we have like 6 hours of live drawing. It's a lot. And I think that's it. Then we are we can use our own style in our, well, film university. They're pretty tolerant of everything we are doing. I even have some professors who, well, they actually like some anime, so I think I can try to go in that style if I want to, and I'm trying to. And even one of my professors actually bought one of my comics, so I think I can use style I want to, because animation has also a lot of styles, and we're mostly taught the techniques, or yeah, mostly the technical stuff, and we can use our own, well, we can put our own style into our work. I think that's what's good about the school I go to. Yeah. Any more questions? There.
When did you start drawing?
When did I start drawing? I actually don't remember a time when I haven't drawn. So I think it was, well, I drew a lot in kindergarten already, and I think then came Sailor Moon, and I started to draw non-stop. It became a more and more serious disease, and at some point I decided to do it professionally because I didn't really want to spend my time any other way. And after I finished school, I actually tried to, you know, study a little bit. It was called media design, and it was a little bit too much of everything. But yeah, I think I've been drawing. If I don't draw a day, then I kind of feel almost sick. my hands are always like twitching. So yeah, it's the what? Of course I did. you can just go on my Twitter and you can see like photos of me drawing all day. Yeah, I did. So I'm fine. My hands are not twitching all that much. Some tips on daily practice. Well, it's always important to get the basics down. So even when I have an artist block, I go back to the basics. So if you don't know what to practice, just practice the basics like anatomy, perspective. I think those two are very important. Even if you use a very stylized style, or if you're drawing, you know, more animation, just practice really basics. Anatomy, maybe go to live drawing if you can, maybe just go outside and look at real life, or you can also just study other artists or animation. You can, you know, if you have problems with hands, just draw 1,000 hands and you might not have any problems with it anymore. Yeah, and also I would recommend to have a sketchbook, like maybe a lot of sketchbooks. Well, finish one and then get the next one, but always have one, because I think that's what helped me the most. I started having a sketchbook in high school, and I think I'm at my 20th or something now, and I think that really helped me a lot. So just get a sketchbook and you'll get better. Any more questions? There in the back.
Have you ever felt like you've run out imagination?
Time to think about the answer when you're running. So thanks. Okay, have I ever run out of information? Well, actually, yes. That's what I call art block. Well, what I do then is look at new stuff or try out new stuff, and that's usually what gets me running again. So I think I've not been that long in some imagination block, because there's always something. When you have internet, there's always something to look at and find new artists. But yeah, there are times when even I don't know what to draw. Okay, any more questions? Yeah.
Do you prefer designing web characters?
Well, I am a lady, so I kind of like male characters. And I think there's in the media there's a lack of good written female characters, so I'm trying to start at least designing more female characters, so there are at least some less Mary Sue's out there. But generally, I think I enjoy male characters more. Yeah, I have to admit that, because I also like boys loving me. Any more questions? Quests, maybe? Wishes? What do you want to see from me in the future? Maybe boys love. No, yes. Oh, yes. I can't hear you. You're too close to the door.
Will you be doing some tutorials and put it on DeviantArt, like the watercolor tutorial or something?
Well, the thing is, I'm still pretty new to watercolor, but I bought some really, really expensive and fancy Korean watercolors. And all I'm doing is, drawing watercolor illustrations now. So I'm actually planning to publish a art book, a watercolor art book, and maybe I will include some tutorials in there. Maybe I will know a little bit more tricks by then. So maybe I will have anything to teach you. Because I'm kind of awkward with tutorials, because I never know if I'm saying something obvious or, but I think there will be something later this year. Another question? First comic. Well, actually, I had a lot of ideas when I was 12. Yeah, but they weren't very good ideas. And I also tried to do comics, but it never, worked out all that well. And I think in 2011, I started my first webcomic that I finished. I don't know if anybody knows it. It has a very cheesy name. It's called Forced Seduction. Has anybody read it? No, not? Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's when I finished that. I couldn't stop anymore. So I think maybe it was longer, maybe 2010 or 9, maybe it was 9. So I think I've been doing comics for about 5 years. And I think once you start, you can't stop. So yeah. I am never sure about my characters or story. Well, I'm getting kind of good reviews from the internet, and that's what gives me confidence. So, the better it is received on the internet, the more confident I get. So yeah, when I post some design on my blog, for example, and well, people don't really like it, I try to change it so that, well, it'll appeal more to them, because they will be my readers, and I would like to, have them interested in what I do. Yeah. Any more quick questions? Or one question? Yes? Of what? Of this? It was Lost Nightmare. Yes.
I'm sorry, lost or last?
Lost with an O.
Thanks.
Někdo má otázku? Tak já bych to asi ukončila. Thanks.
And thank you all for coming. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. I hope you didn't fall asleep. Yeah, thanks. And do read my comic and do buy my comic and do some